aren't going to let Zeke Elliott beat them. So Dak Prescott played great.
Dak was so good. How about this throw? On the sidelines, Amari Cooper with the athleticism and the body control to secure the catch while getting both feet in.
Cowboys would score on that drive, so it's 14-7, and now they're moving again, and it's Randall Cobb, and we're tied.
Dak uses cadence out of the timeout. The air on this throw is incredible. And then the fingertip catch by Randall Cobb for the touchdown, Dallas.
So they leave a little time left on the clock. Remember those words. Kirk Cousins uses that time wisely. They're moving it down the field. Passes a great catch there by Stephon Diggs.
Really good 2-minute drive here. Look at Diggs just get one hand, really one arm out for the football. Falls into his elbow, and he secures it. Outstanding hand-eye coordination.
Vikings kick a field goal, so it's 17-14. Remember again, the Cowboys left some time on the clock, and the Vikings used it. Now, Cowboys down 6, ball on the 12. This is an unbelievable play by Amari Cooper.
This is absolutely filthy. First of all, it's a laser by Dak. I mean, this ball is humming, and it's 2 or 3 feet out of bounds, and Coop still has the ability to full lean, toes in bounds, secure the catch. Ridiculous.
11 catches, 147 yards for him, but Rex Dalvin Cook had himself a night.
He was the difference in this game, Greeny. All those great catches and things, but Dalvin Cook was the man.
He had 183 total yards from scrimmage last night. So the Vikings are up 7, fourth quarter. Here comes Dak. That's Cobb. That's a 20-yard gain. Now he's going to find Cooper. I want you to remember the end of the first half when they left time on the clock and the Vikings used it. So in this situation, Dan, they bled the clock.
Great point, Greeny. They're trying to not only score, but make sure Minnesota doesn't get the football back, and it gets them to play in a conservative manner instead of trusting their quarterback and Coop. Fourth down, and they try to throw a pass to Zeke, who gets covered by one of the best pass-covered linebackers in the NFL, Kendricks.
Zeke only ran for 47 on the night. They would turn it over. Vikings would go 3 and out. The Cowboys would get one last chance. Dak is going to launch a Hail Mary, but this is a prayer that will not be answered. In fact, it's intercepted by Kearse in the end zone. And so the Vikings with a huge win on the road on Sunday night, 28-24. And for Dallas, a lot of long faces.
Had a chance, had an opportunity right there at the end. As a quarterback, can't ask for more, right? Ball in your hands. Fourth down, chance to make it throw to win the game, and they made a great play. They made more plays than we did when it counted.
Basically, could have put a sign on the start of the game that said Zeke's not going anywhere, and that was the story of the game.
Now, it's interesting comments from Jerry there. You heard him say, talking about him, and he also later in that same media scrum complimented Mike Zimmer, said Zim had them coached up like crazy for tonight. And he's got a team that's 5-4 with all the talent in the world, and he paid the running back. This is starting to have all the makings, Rex. I know that Jason Garrett has had 9 lives, but this is starting to have all the makings if they don't turn it around.
No, he has had 9 lives. Will he have 10? I'm not so sure. This team needs to go deep in the playoffs. We're wondering right now, are they even going to make the playoffs?
Are they going to make the playoffs? They're 5-4. A wild card doesn't feel good coming out of the NFC East. They're in a flat-footed tie with Philly.
Cowboys aren't going to make the playoffs. I don't see them making the playoffs. We sat here all offseason, said this is a Super Bowl contending football team. Pay Zeke. He's a big part of this football team. They're 5-4. They got 1 win against the team with the winning record. 1. They've got the easiest schedule in the NFC. They played last night at home against a team that a quarterback is notorious struggled in prime time. His best receiver wasn't playing in the football game. Their starting corner was not playing in the football game. Dak Prescott had one of his best games. It was incredibly impressive. Amari Cooper goes off. And you still lost. What about the Dallas Cowboys tells you they're a playoff football team? They're a talented team that is average when it comes to results. Give me the Packers. Give me the Vikings. Give me the Saints. Give me the Niners. Give me the Eagles. Give me the Seahawks. I can give you 6 or 7 teams in the NFC that are not only as good, but more proven than the Cowboys. Why are we talking about them?
Maybe Carolina, too. What makes you think they should be better are the names on the backs of the jerseys. That's what makes you think it. Can I very briefly, Rex, just ask you about the strategy at the end of the game not to be aggressive and try and score the touchdown? They were throwing the ball all over the Vikings last night. It looked like they did not want to score a touchdown with 1.5 minutes left on the clock. As a coach, take me through that scenario.
No, that's exactly what happened. They did not. They never wanted to score too quick. And that's, I tell you what.
Is that the right thing to do or the wrong thing to do?
Well, obviously, it's easy to sit back right now and question it. I would have run 1 time, but I wouldn't have run, 2 times right there. Look, Minnesota couldn't stop you throwing the football. So, obviously, you got to do it. But I'm telling you, I've been there where you sit back and you have no confidence in your defense. very rarely for me. But but I've been there where it's like, if we give them that time, and that's the thing about Kirk Cousins. They were afraid of Kirk Cousins taking that offense and driving down there, like you mentioned, right before halftime they did.
And this is important because I want people to understand this. When they get down there and Kellen Moore is the play caller, it goes from him being the play caller to Jason Garrett taking control of the situation, right? That comes from the head coach going, hey, I want 2 runs here or something like that. Because why would the play caller who's clicking and totally has a beat on the Vikings defense totally change the rhythm of what he was doing? And I don't mind the 4th down play call. If you're not going to throw it to Coop because you think he's going to get double teamed, okay, but why would you go after one of the best covered linebackers in the league, and Kendricks? Like, that's the part of that design that I got some issues with.
Listen, the Vikings played great. They deserve a lot of credit for getting a big win on the road. We'll talk more about that as we go. But that is a tough loss for a Cowboys team that has a tough schedule the rest of the way. We haven't gotten to this game yet. Packers, Panthers. Very good game. Packers up 14-10, second quarter on a 3rd and 13 deep in his own territory. Aaron Rodgers goes down and they throw a flag on that.
I'm just happy Rodgers is okay because this is a vicious, vicious hit by Gerald McCoy. It looks like a pillow fight. This is a ridiculous roughing the passer penalty, and it hurt Carolina.
And even though the Packers don't wind up scoring on this drive, it does change the complexion of the game because they were going to punt from the back of their own end zone. Instead, they go on this drive that brings them all the way down the field. They wind up not scoring because on a 4th down play, did you think that they made the right decision there not kicking the field goal?
Oh, yeah, I have no issues with that decision. Carolina just made that play.
So then the Packers get the ball to start the second half, and they want to open up their lead. And they're starting to do it because Aaron Rodgers is doing things like that.
Don't give him time. I mean, you can't do much to stop him. If you give him time, it's a wrap. Great throw.
And then when they get Aaron Jones going, that's his 3rd touchdown of the game, 13 carries, 93 yards. Packers up 21-10, and then the snow starts to fall. And I know that Kyle Allen didn't bring this team back for a win, but he acquitted himself very well.
Kyle Allen was put in so many unique and difficult situations on the road yesterday where he had to go make the play, threw it to the right place at the right time.
Here's your ball game. This is 4 seconds left down by the goal line. They try to run it with their best player in Christian McCaffrey. He doesn't quite get there. They take a long look at it, and the call stands. Packers hold. They hold on to win 24-16 as McCaffrey, who is an MVP candidate. You see his teammates trying to wrestle him in, but the call would wind up standing, and the game finishes right there. 24-16, Panthers doing the victorious Snow Angels when it's all said and done. That is a really good game yesterday afternoon, and I feel like there were so many things I want to take out of it. Rex, I start with you on the call. I understand that the Packers don't score there, but it still was a major change, turning point in the game. What did you make of the call on Gerald McCoy?
It was horrendous because he did everything to avoid it. I mean, everything, a clinic tape on how you take the guy down, you get your body outside of Rodgers.
Yep.
It's just a horrible call. Like, come on, man, this is still football. We get it. We've got to protect our players, but this is not even close. And look at him get to the edge of the guy. And to me, it's a horrible call. I don't care if the NFL comes back and says it's the right call. No, it's not. Everybody knows it's a horrible call.
When I saw the flag get thrown, honest to God, I thought it was going to be holding. Because I was like, it didn't even look like it could be a roughing the passer penalty to me. I thought it was going to be a holding flag. Actually, really sick that Rodgers caught that flag, by the way.
Yeah,
that's pretty
awful
cool.
Call. Awful call.
So
yeah, I was thinking safety myself.
Then let's turn ourselves to Aaron Jones, who has obviously emerged, and he had a sort of a quiet week a week ago, and they had just sort of a bad day last week against the Chargers. But week in and week out, Aaron Rodgers is an all-time great, but this guy has become their offense.
That's going to be the difference with this football team. Look, Aaron Rodgers is still one of the best quarterbacks in the league, and now you're going to give him a running game and then an opportunistic defense. That's what makes this team really tough.
And I liked how they did it with their run game yesterday. Like, they got condensed splits, so they brought the tight end and receiver close to the offensive line together. It forced Carolina to play kind of soft or off the football with corner and the safety, and then they ran. And Aaron Jones.
Packers looking really good. We talked about the Saints losing a strange game, almost in the same way that the Packers just looked bad in L.A. the week before. So you give people the benefit of the doubt when they have bad days. Let's go to the Carolina side. And there are no moral victories, but it's a tough place to play. And Kyle Allen, the undrafted, like he's established himself as that team's quarterback.
Here's what I take from that game yesterday. If you're a Carolina Panthers fan, you can't tell me that Kyle Allen is not the guy of the future. You can't tell me that because he goes on the road and he stares down 12, one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, at his place in bad weather when he's quarterbacking a really good football team that sits at 8-2 now, and brought them to the 1-yard line. And he had to pass rush, he had to deal with weather, he had to deal with 3rd and longs and 4th and longs. Don't tell me Kyle Allen's not the guy, because there's no proof on tape or by performance that he is not your future in Carolina.
I agree that he is the future at that position, but the major issue for Carolina, they are horrendous at stopping the run. And we saw that in this game. We've seen it every game this year, except when they played Tampa. So, but I mean, they have huge problems there.
Yeah.
Luke Kuechly, come on, guys. Eventually, it's time to pass the torch right there also. So he's not the same guy he once was. They got issues right there, and they could not protect the quarterback. Poor Kyle Allen I don't know how the heck he survived this thing.
He got hit a lot.
But, I mean, you talk about pocket presence, what Daniel Jones doesn't have, this kid has.
Hey, Slipper, I mean, going into the game, the question was, well, one of them is Cam Dunn in Carolina. And it was kind of like we'll see maybe after yesterday, Cam's done in Carolina.
I just spent the weekend in Chicago. I can tell you there's a lot of Bears fans that are hoping that the end of Cam Newton in Carolina means the beginning of Cam Newton in Chicago. We shall see. Let's meanwhile talk about a quarterback who's not going anywhere. Patrick Mahomes, back after missing 2.5 weeks. He's got an ankle. He's got a knee. And yet somehow, Dan, he can do this.
I just want to say thank you for getting healthy, because as a person who loves watching football and loves watching people do things that you can't explain, it's good to have Mahomes back. Like, watch him climb the pocket here when he feels pressure off his right and then have to jump off the left foot. McCall Hardman's not wide open there. Like, there needs to be an accurate throw with the flick of the wrist, and then the speed allows it. But it's just, the dude is so much fun.
He was ridiculous. He threw for well over 400 yards, and they had a 9-point lead. But here's where things get crazy. Kansas City's lead is 5, and then they have a bad snap on a field goal. And Dustin Colquitt, I don't know what. I guess he's just trying to do something with the football here, so he throws it to no one, so it's intentional grounding. So the Titans take over, and they've got a great chance to win the game, and guess what? They do. Ryan Tannehill.
Of course, Tannehill leads them back against one of the AFC favorites. Tannehill, really good throw against Humphreys, 2-man coverage, middle of the field, wide open, great route. Really good, accurate
They
throw.
go for the 2 and they get it, so they're up 3. Rex, you didn't like the Tennessee
2-man rush. What are we doing? Pat Mahomes is back there.
Rex did not like the way Tennessee handled the defense at the end, but so Mahomes is able to move them down there with a chance to kick a tying field goal, 52 yards, but they block it.
And this is good coaching. At this moment, when there's only time for a kick left, try and jump the count. Because if you guess it right, this is going to be the end result. You get your left hand up there, not your right, to block you. Time to snap perfect, get the left hand up, team wins the ball game.
Joshua Kalu, give him the credit, give him the hand, because he's the one who got the hand on it. So Tennessee gets the win. We'll talk about them. That's an impressive win for a team that's had some good wins this year. But I will ask you, Rex, you are a defensive guy to your core, to the deepest place in your soul. Can Kansas City get where it wants to go playing defense the way they're playing it?
No way. They got to be able to play better defense than this. I mean, look, they're 31st in the league in stopping the run. And you're going to go to a Super Bowl with that? There's no way. And as great as Pat Mahomes is, which he is, and the speed they have, oh my gosh. But you have to play defense at some point. Right now, I haven't seen it out of them.
And that's Derrick Henry, who ran all over them yesterday, including
like
that
he was
one
in Alabama
long touchdown
right there.
that we saw there. Yeah, he runs over a lot of people, but the Chiefs, the defense is obviously an Achilles heel. Let's do the math. They're 6-4. The Raiders are staring at back-to-back very winnable games against the Bengals and Jets. The Chiefs could be in a dogfight just to win their division.
There's no question about it. I'm not putting the Chiefs in the playoffs right now, which, again, that's wild to think, right? But you just had a quarterback throw for 450, 3 touchdowns, scored 30 on the road against a good defense, and lose. There's no way that we can just sit here and go, Patrick Mahomes is going to make everything okay. Because, look at the teams that they're going to have to play in the AFC. They just lost to Ryan Tannehill. They're going to have to play Deshaun Watson, and they're going to have to play Derek Carr, and they're going to have to play Tom Brady, and they're going to have to play Lamar Jackson. If they get what
and
part
Phillip
of this?
Rivers twice. Let's not just dismiss them.
There's
I think they've dismissed Phillip Rivers, but that's a different story. But again,
if his tackles play, the Chargers will give this team all they want.
Well, we'll see. That's the game this coming weekend. The Chiefs are in a little bit of trouble. Here's a team that was a coin flip away from being in the Super Bowl a year ago. They have the best quarterback in the sport. Mahomes was ridiculous yesterday, and they are in some jeopardy of not making the playoffs. And by the way, as good as Mahomes was yesterday, Lamar Jackson may just as well have been better. Again, they're playing the terrible Bengals yesterday, but here's some stuff we've never seen before. This we're calling the Heisman package.
It's the triple option with the triple Heismans. One catches the snap, fakes it to a Heisman winner, and then runs the option and pitches it to another Heisman winner. Good luck to the rest of the NFL defensive coaches preparing for that.
Well, Rex, you're a defensive coach. What are you going to do to try and stop the move Lamar Jackson's going to make right here? Look at this.
Nothing. I'm going home.
Oh.
He did this on me. I'm just tucking my tail and going home.
This is one of those plays
seen that.
where you don't try to describe it. The whip, whip, like you just marvel at it because there's not a lot of people that can do that. This reminds me of watching Reggie Bush play against Fresno State 15 years ago on national television.
And oh, by the way, you want him to throw a touchdown for you? He'll do that. He was 15 of 17, 3 touchdowns through the air, ran for another, finishes with a perfect passer rating, and as cool as our buddy Stewart would say, as the other side of the pillow. Lamar, let's talk.
How often you practice that move?
What move? Oh, nah, I never practiced it. Actually, I did it, what it was, Saturday at the walkthrough. I did it, and it actually happened in the game.
So you did it in slow motion?
But when I did it in the walkthrough, I would have got hit.
My 2 favorite words of the day in the NFL yesterday were what move. He had to be reminded which move it was we were referring to. Look, what can we say about this? I mean, what we're seeing now, it has gone past the point. I think it's gone past the point that most of the people who know the most about football that I'm aware of ever thought it would get to with this kid in Baltimore.
Yeah, I mean, right now the Baltimore Ravens are something that we've never seen in the NFL. And I'm not saying that just as a take. We've never seen this kind of scheme matched with this personnel with the 3 tight ends that can both run and block and then catch, and the quarterback that can execute it like this. We've never, at least certainly not in decades, we've never seen that combination of stuff. And I would argue that, and I would describe the Ravens as indefensible right now. There is nothing that a defense can do because Lamar Jackson in his first 16 games as a starter, he's got more rush yards than LaDainian Tomlinson. He's got more rush yards than LaDainian Tomlinson. He's got more yards per completion than Aaron Rodgers. He's got a better passer rating than Tom Brady in the first 16 starts of their careers. Good luck.
He is on pace to rush for 1,200 yards this season. Let's talk about this way, Rex, for a minute here, because let's give credit to the coaching staff. I know how well you know John Harbaugh. Early this season, the worst thing you can do is waste a loss. They lost a bad game against Kansas City, in which they had him back there flinging it around all over the place. And it looks like they learned from that, and they have now put together an offense where they are playing to his strength in every conceivable way.
Well, that's the only coordinator that can stop this guy is Greg Roman, the offensive coordinator. Look, he's done a phenomenal job. This team leads the league in scoring offense, and they're second in overall offense. To me, I look at it this way. If he gets in a drop-back game, that's not his game. This is his game. And you talk about it, trying to defend the option, 11-on-11 football, that is brutal. Look, we used to do it with Brad Smith. What Brad never had the body to handle it. This kid does. I love it. 31 teams made a mistake.
Yeah.
You never wanted to see it. We all saw it in college. He was clearly the best player in college football. 2 years in a row, he should have won the Heisman, but we wanted to dismiss it. Why? Because he's not a traditional pocket quarterback. He doesn't have to be. He's setting this entire league on its ear right now.
Defensive coaches don't have a plan for him. They can't stop it.
We're going to see Russell Wilson tonight. Right now, Lamar Jackson probably second favorite for the MVP award after Russell. Meanwhile, coming up on Get Up, it was the trade that literally changed their season. Can Minkah Fitzpatrick and the Steelers actually make the playoffs? What a job they've done there. And then how good was Joe Burrow and LSU's win?